Page 48, 3-minute technique. Pages 48 49 they talk about a little bit about a few things about stuff, and I'll just briefly cover it in this video. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. We're dealing with triads here. A 3-note chord is a triad, and they're simply playing the triad to start with a C chord, a C major chord, one chord in the key of C or whatever. We can use both hands finally. And all they're doing here is they're going up the keyboard using all the notes, half steps. That means that each note is going to go up a half step. So the bottom note goes up a half step, the middle note goes up a half step, and the top note goes up a half step. So and we just keep going up. That's my favorite there. In both hands. Especially if you want to get into improvising, I encourage you to work on this. Just it's a little weird at first, but you have to stop. Both hands are playing the same notes. Each one. And as you do this, again, stay relaxed. Let the wrist collapse just a little bit with each chord. Don't play with stiff wrists. Try and get the notes down at the same time. There's 6 notes here. Get them down. It doesn't hurt to play the hands 2 octaves apart because you can hear it better if you do. Don't go down real low because they get muddy. It's like, what? It's easier to hear them up high. You can hear all the notes more clearly. So don't go probably below an octave below middle C. Stay there in the top end. It doesn't hurt to come up here. But then you're reaching out that way to solve one problem and create another. So just here. As far as whole notes and counting and all that, not interested right now. We're just the chords. Then they give you a broken chord variation. There's thousands of variations of these. It's just broken. That's one variation. It comes in handy in a 3/4 time, or something where you're counting in threes, or you want to do triplets, triplet, 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 triplet. That time comes in handy. So you keep that in mind if you're improvising. At the top of page 49, they give you the octave variation, where you simply take the bottom note and you're playing an octave here. And there's different variations of patterns for that. You can play them together. You can play the bottom note first, play the top note first. You can do what they're doing, 3 of them, or whatever. You can do it both heads. Steps, or here. You don't have to use those patterns they're showing you. Make up your own. Here I go 1 2 3 4 1 2 1 2 1, whatever, or what they're doing. So forth. Then switch it around and let the left hand play the chord and the right hand play octaves. It's here. I'm going to go up here, or I can go here. So make sure you're developing both hands here. Then at the bottom of the page, on page 49, to show you the minor triads. Well, it's the same as the major, except the middle note's just down a half step. And if you go up half steps, keep that pattern, then you do a minor chord. So each note's just going up a half step. Takes a little bit of thinking to get it, and you can do the octave thing with the minor triad. So if you're getting into improvising and music theory and all that, this is the kind of thing you just want to get. It's important to know the scales. You may not know all the scales right now, but the scales you have covered, the keys you've covered, make sure you can do those scales. And the primary chords. Because you don't have to just use root. I mean, I could, the 4 chord is, in C major, the 4 chord is an F chord. Well, that's the 1 chord in the key of F, covering that. And same thing with the 5 chord, that's a G chord, you're covering that. So you're covering these chords, so just start with C and go up. You see, when you're doing half steps like this, you're basically covering all the keys, when you do this.